goats. The overgrazing of goats across the world has been one of those really dramatic symbols of deforestation, desertification, totally degraded landscape. But in permaculture design, we continuously remind ourselves that the problem can be the solution. So with that in mind, I set about grazing our goats in a way that creates a reforestation process. How can that animal be designed in as a positive element, giving us production, giving us land fertility, land-free reforestation, and providing us with fuel? That's a system I want to show you. I've designed a system I'm proud of, an electric net fence around weed tree forest edge, where weed trees have taken over and are dominating the landscape and suppressing its regeneration. We've moved the goats into position specifically to speed that process up, to recover the landscape and to prepare it for an improved condition while providing their needs, our needs, and a benefit to the environment by their very action, by the action of their feeding, their processing, their changing the environment in a positive. Let me show you how that works. So here's our system, a 50-metre length of electric net. That's 50 metres, 50 metres, 50 metres, 50 metres. That's 2,500 square metres inside of there. That's over half an acre. But 40% of it is the pasture you can see, and then 60% are trees. And these are weed trees. These are your classic tree types that come in and invade damaged farmland. These are privet, small leaf privet, large leaf privet, camphor, lantana, all species that are undesirable and slowly let the landscape come back to forest. But we can speed that up. By moving in with these type of systems, we can speed up the sequence of succession towards what we would prefer, whatever that may be. At the base of this is an electric solar powered fence unit. Earth stake, live wire, electrified net. And it's electric all the way along the horizontal lines, except for this last bottom line. This touches the ground, and the next one up is electric. Now we have to have really clear ground, so we cut the grass nice and low, and we set up a very straight, tight line, because we need to have good electricity and no shorts if possible all the way through the electric net to make sure we've got our goats well contained and they're performing the job we want them to perform. So this piece of appropriate technology, solar powered electric fence, quite high voltage, keeps them completely contained if you set it up carefully. We've provided the goats with what they need. We've got shelter. They don't like the rain. They need to get into shelter overnight, and they need to get into shelter in the rain. We've given them a good water supply, so they've got good, clean, constant water. We've given them a mineral block so they can get all the minerals they require for a full complement of diet. They've got 40% pasture, 60% forage. They've got everything they need. They need control. We need to control the goats. We need to control their area. We've taken out any plants in there prior to introducing the goats that might create them problems with toxicity or poisons. They're well supplied. They're happy. They're going to go into function. They're going to be productive. This is the forest edge. Forests always have a successional edge coming out into the adjoining environment. This is the point of influence. The goats only take out what they can reach. That you can guarantee. They're going to strip out all the leaves they can reach. Then we come in as a strategy, a timing of event. We then come in and cut the trees down to them, leaving just a stump that regrows as a coppice. But we move the goats onto new ground and come back later when the coppices of all the remaining weed tree stumps have regrown. Then they graze that, forage that off much quicker and increase the fertility cycle while stressing the weed trees. 2 or 3 cycles later, the regrowth coppice weed tree stumps are so stressed, we can make our move, we can change it. We can bring in the flat ground back to pasture, the hill country to quality forest, or even cropland, whatever we want to make that change. We can make our move with a strategic point of timing by observation of our productive element, well designed into our environment, so that we become the stewards of the potential abundance by understanding the sequences of environmental repair. You can see where they've eaten it down, and now it's regrown for the first time, and it's got plenty of regrowth power. Each time that it's eaten over and over, the goats will stress this down and we can change the system. Now there's our firewood, there's our rocket stove firewood. It's as easy as that. Quite quickly, I've got enough rocket stove fuel to heat the house for 24 hours with a high temperature burn, or heat enough mass hot water for 20 showers, or just cook a good meal. Look how much material there is here. And we're not half the way through, we're not a quarter of the way through the goats' preparation. This is enough fuel for months. We're oversupplied with resources all around us. The reason we don't recognize those resources is we don't understand how to design them to our favor. We don't know how to design the animals, to the plants, to the energy systems. Those are the connections you learn in a permaculture design certificate course. The animals are such dependable elements in a system. They always perform. They want to do their job. They want to perform their functions. It's your job to design them into a positive interaction. That's the way. With good design implementation, good design understanding, we can bring the landscape back into abundance. Even with goats and weed trees as the pioneer of a system. So, we've shown you how to use goats in a positive way. We need to lay that together with design. We need to keep the story going. There is an ongoing story where we can lay one element with another, one functioning element, providing needs with design. By design and combinations of interactions. Interactive complexity in harmony with the landscape. We're going to keep you involved in this story of how all this lays together to provide your needs in an easier and easier way while benefiting the environment with more fertility, with more abundance, with more biodiversity, and providing all of the needs of humanity. with simple understanding of design systems that interact. That's our story. We're going to keep going, one chapter at a time.